better Nigeria? Is it a myth or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Reju.
Hi, my name is Obi, and this is Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are always clarified. We're glad to have you all here with us today. It's 5 p.m. and this is where you should be. If you know others who are not here, give them a call. Let them tune in to Rhythm 93.7. Before I go far, let me just introduce everyone here again one more time. This is Answers with Dr. Reju, and of course, there is Dr. Reju.
Thank you, Obi.
We have Matthew.
Thank you, Obi.
And we have Isaac.
Thank you, Obi.
Glad to have you all here. In the last series of episodes, we have been dealing with family. We have done justice as much as possible to issues with regards to family, parenting, training of kids, value systems, and all that. And I think it's only fitting that from there we move into education, because we're always talking about what needs to be done to make our society better and philosophies with which we need to drive our lives to make our lives better too. So we're going to be talking about education, issues that need to be clarified about education generally. Matthew, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Obi. Looking at education, I would want to know Dr. Reju's take on his general understanding about education and how it relates to societal transformation.
Oh, great. That question actually set it up properly, because you can only measure the value, the purpose of education in terms of how it translates, to societal transformation. Because education basically is a way of resourcing society for the purpose of transformation. Especially when you create an atmosphere that educates, because I want us to look at it from that broad perspective. Because when you say education, sometimes what comes to your mind is a classroom. But when you actually put the question in the way you've put it, it sets it up properly. That education has a way that it translates to societal transformation, because it is through the medium, because education is a medium of resourcing society. And what is the primary resource in society? They are humans. They are humans. So education is a medium by which humans are properly placed, properly empowered, properly equipped to be able to add value, the much needed value to society. So that education has many faces. But basically speaking, a society, like we said, months ago, when we're talking about, functional society, a functional society has, an atmosphere created where citizens are educated. That atmosphere is created where education is an ongoing process in society, because education is the means by which society gets properly resourced for the purpose of, sustained transformation.
Well, Dr. Reju, with that being said, it therefore means that there are various forms of education.
Absolutely.
And because I keep hearing this refrain, Western education. So could there be also something coined as, Nigerian education?
Yes, I mean you have at least you have Nigerian curriculum or something. But the issue of Western education is basically trying to sensitize us to the source of that educational model. There's something about an educational model that is, Western in origin, in orientation. And because of our own heritage also, our history, that when we talk about education, it like I said, it basically goes to the classroom, because we don't talk about education that happens, in a family setting. We don't talk about education that happens maybe in a community. How about cultural education? Because I would look at education as, on that broad level of being able to socialize people, the ability to be civil, and civil in the sense that you can relate, you can communicate, you can be a true member, of that society, where if you live there, if you operate there, you can actually contribute, to the well-being of that society. That person, as far as I'm concerned, is educated. Because if you are in a kind of a society where you don't speak their language, for instance, when you use that society where you live as a standard, you are not educated, right? Because you cannot relate in that society. The kind of value that are going to add to that society will be limited. If you cannot maybe speak their language, if you don't understand their ways, if if you set up a business, it's going to affect you. It's really so. Education is holistic. It's holistic. So when we say Western education, we are basically talking about the educational model, especially as it has to do with academics or scholarship, that is, the orientation, the foundation, the source is from the Western world.
Okay. When you talk about scholarship, it seems like what we have come to see as Western education may also be bigger than scholarship. It also gives them a way of thinking.
Absolutely.
Because it seems like it's diametrically opposite to our tradition, what we call traditional way of thinking, and things like
You're
that.
very right. Mm-hmm. Because for us, we learn the Western ways in the classroom. For them, it's culture.
Okay.
So if they have to impose it, if they have to introduce it to us, it has to be in a controlled learning environment, right? Because if you study even physics or any kind of subject, right, into the principles of physics, you are going to have infused the basic, philosophy of the person who wrote that. He's going to write it from the standpoint of his own culture, right? From his own orientation. An African can write the same physics kind of principle or whatever, and it's going to be fused with his own. Maybe his examples will not be the same that a Westerner we use. So that's the way it is. You can't divorce that. If I write a book, my culture will be there. My background will be there. It will be, it will be colored, by the way. The principle might be the same, but the communication is going to carry myself. It's going to carry my own, sentiments. Okay. Right. And then you have to also know that when these things were designed, the Westerners who designed those kind of subjects that we do here, those subjects were designed for their setting. Mm-hmm. Now, if we just take that hook, line, and sinker, you realize that that's where we got into a problem. Maybe I believe in the course of this series, we're still going to get there, where because our education is not contextualized, that's why most of the time it doesn't leave the classroom. Because what you learn in those books, you don't see it outside there. That's it. So, it's like square pegs in round holes. Yeah.
As you're talking, I just remember that, we call it Western education, right? Let's say it has to do with medicine, for instance. You talk about the Chinese. They have been practicing their own kind of medicine. With results for centuries.
Or the acupuncture.
Absolutely,
and all those kind of
things.
But it
hasn't found its way into curriculum yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because because I'm using physics, chemistry, biology. It will be significantly different if biology is communicated in Hausa language. It will be significantly different if biology is communicated in Hausa language or Yoruba language or Igbo language. It might be the same principles, we might have the same experiment, but you see, when we conduct our experiments, they will be, culturally relevant experiments.
In fact, I agree with Dr. Reggie, because if you look at the language of medicine,
Yeah.
right? You will realize that most of their terminologies find their roots in Latin, right? In Greek, So you see that maybe I can't, I don't have those terminologies, here, but
No, don't
you know,
go into
but for instance, right, something as simple as saying, okay, he has a hole in his head, is now said in Latin. And to us, it seems like something ambiguous and very, very, So I get the perspective of,
yeah. That's why maybe going forward on this program, what we advocate for is education that reflects our context, right? Because you know that the English language that we even speak is foreign to us. There are many phrases we use that we don't see on the street. It's religious. It's, even the Bible that people read in churches and all those kind of things. You say, maybe you hear things like, you will be white as snow. There are many of us, we've never seen snow. So you can't, and what you can't picture, you can't use. Words are pictures. So, that's why socialization is a major issue in our society. Civilization has many faces. So, and that has affected our education here, because I'm talking about scholarship now and the way we live our lives generally. Let me give a very simple example. If you listen to somebody speak English and he has Western accent, you respect the person, right? You just respect the person. But if the person speaks English with a Hausa accent, with a Birom accent, with, some Yoruba accent, you tend to, where is he from? But if that person is speaking Hausa, you judge the person based on the fact that he's speaking Hausa. But if I'm going to speak English with my Hausa accent, I just look like, like a bowl of raisins inside cornflakes. That's another phrase. Yes. So that's the way it is. We have, our colonial heritage has messed us up. And I believe that our leaders, those who have led us since the 60s, they've not made conscious effort, right, to really redefine our identity or rediscover it. We sort of just continued. It has found a way to our homes. It has found a way, to our classrooms. It's found a way to friendship. Find a way to everywhere. So that's the way we have been educated today.
That's globalization.
Yeah, globalization. We're talking about globalization in terms of, because sometimes when we say globalization, I see it as westernization. Yeah, because globalization is actually calling everybody to the party, right? It's calling everybody to the party. But this time, somebody set the stage for the party, and calling everybody to come and have a part in the party on his own terms.
Okay.
That's it. Wow, we're really talking education here today.
Before I get to Isaac, if we wanted to draw you on some of the things you've said, it seems then that education has sort of become the standard on which we confer somebody as successful, someone as a failure.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because your example said that if I speak English
with a
Western
Western
accent, I look down on you.
Yeah.
So,
but am I right?
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. So what you said is so profound. And it's because of the way we've been messed up too educationally. Because, like I said, when Matt, he asked his question, education now, the moment you hear the word education, you're talking about the school. You're talking about blackboard, maybe don't use blackboard again, maybe chalk, whiteboard and markers and things. That's the setting that comes to mind, And then therefore, you look at a situation where you consider somebody who is a lawyer more successful than somebody who is a tailor. Forgetting that the dress being worn by that lawyer, the reason that lawyer is not naked is because a tailor worked. So that somebody who is a skilled tailor is educated. Okay. In the same way as somebody who is a lawyer. Because they both, like the way I started with education has been a springboard to societal transformation, they have both contributed, to good, to the quality of life in society. But the way we have been wired, you see that the lawyer is successful. The parents of that lawyer, they are more proud than the parents of a tailor.
Maybe because of his bring home pay.
Yeah. And then if it is pay, Obi, you discover that some tailors are richer than a lot of lawyers.
Absolutely.
That's the way, that's the confusion that we find ourselves. And that's what I believe we need to begin to correct. I won't start with the normal refrain that we need to begin to regulate. No. Let the person who is into tailoring business, first of all, have that self-esteem that he's a vital value added to society. So the person shouldn't just describe himself as a tailor. I clothe people, right? I cover people's nakedness. Imagine everybody walking naked or people just tying, because you mention brands and you don't know that they are tailors, right? Yeah. Exactly. I mean, if you say Colakpo sold this and then you say this is Yves Saint Laurent, you won't know that both of them are tailors. You see, that's where because now somebody who now wants to now study tailoring, I use that word intentionally. You are going to be like an apprentice. You need to know that you are going to school. Okay. You need to understand that you are going to school, right? Because if I go study medicine, I'm also apprenticed to skillful doctors or those who have been trained along that line to now transfer knowledge to me. It's the same thing. And I wish I could say that loud, louder than this. It's the same thing, especially when it has to do with, disciplines that has to do with, handiwork. So it's so important that so that education should no longer be means of conferring success and failure. Because for you to compare a tailor and a lawyer, it's trying to compare apples and oranges. They are both fruits, right? But they don't have the same taste.
Exactly.
Yeah, the similarity ends that they are fruits. Exactly. So the similarity between these two people that they are human beings, they are people trained, but trained in different ways. And there's a place they always compliment. Like I said, the lawyer's robe was done by a tailor.
You know what? You've just been educating us. So let's go on a short break, a school break. Listen to a few guys.
Yeah.
We'll come back for the next class, right?
All right.
There are cooking oils and there are cooking oils, Of course. There are those that foam like soap when you put them on fire. And there are those that go to sleep after a few days. There are even those with funny odors that make neighbors wonder what's happening in your kitchen.
I beg, don't kill me, oh.
But then again, there is Grand Pure Soya Oil, made from pure soya seed. Grand Pure Soya Oil is cholesterol-free, which makes it ideal for the heart and health conscious. It neither foams nor fumes, neither does it congeal even at low temperature. Grand Pure Soya Oil is also endorsed by the Nigerian Heart Foundation as heart-friendly oil.
Let me go and get my own Grand Pure Soya Oil, Joe. Oil that doesn't smell or sleep.
Grand Pure Soya Oil, a heart-friendly oil you've always known.
All right, welcome back. This is Answers with Dr. Reju. And in case you're joining us, we've been schooled, right? Now get in touch with us using the number 081 44 56 9000. Send us a WhatsApp, ask us questions, and we will be glad to answer you back. Or you can get to our website, that's answerswithdrreju.com, or our Facebook page, that's facebook.com/answerswithdrreju. Finally, you can also do us an email, answerswithdrreju@gmail.com. We've been having fun here, and actually there's coffee right here. Something is really brewing. Yeah, so I've been talking about education.
Yep.
And Dr. Reju was saying a lot of things. I don't want to get into them, right?
Yeah.
But if you missed them, just get to our website after this episode and you'll have it there. So let me get to Isaac right now. Isaac.
Well, Dr. Reju, if you said so much about education. And if education is towards society transformation, if I may put it this way, sir, what then is the philosophy behind education?
I will look at it from, should education be inspired by a philosophy or by an ideology? Is there something we want to achieve and then we are using education as the medium, right? The answer to that, first of all, is yes. Now, the philosophy behind education will now be determined by what that society wants to achieve. You know, I'll give a simple example. If you have, maybe you want to unscrew something and you look at it, you've seen what you want to achieve, the natural, wise thing to do is to go look for a screwdriver, right? So that now becomes the philosophy, because you want to unscrew something. What you need, right, is a screwdriver. So what kind of society do we want to have? We now determine how we want to educate our people, right? It will now be determined how we want to educate our people. That will go, it will now be what inspire our educational policy, where we invest, what should now determine how we want to structure, the whole society educationally. So that's, if you look at the Western world that we spoke about, they got to a point where they wanted to industrialize, and then they started focusing on science, right? Started focusing on science. They wanted to have, people schooled in science. They want people to learn engineering, people to learn, all those kind of fields that will help the industrialization quest or agenda of that society. Now, the question we want to ask me is, do we have one? Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go as a society? What role is that playing in the way we set up our educational system? Because educational system, again, I keep saying that, we should not be thinking about classrooms. Because from the moment a child is born, the way those children are being related with. For example, if you have maybe like a neighborhood, and you see a neighborhood, the way you do the architecture of that neighborhood, and you put a park, you've already started educating. Mm-hmm. You put a park, right? My sister just got back from Dubai and he said something. He said, "Oh, do you know what? That place is so clean." In fact, she nearly went to jail because she was chewing gum in public. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the whole, is you go to jail if you chew gum in public in Dubai. It attracts a jail term. So the point is, they want a tourist city that must be clean. Now, that now affects the way the whole place is structured. So I was talking about a park. You're already training that little child about the value of recreation, right? About the value of the environment. That's where the education starts from, right? That there is a need for people to go to a place to go and, just observe nature, just or hang out with neighbors, that kind of a thing. So it's that specific. Yeah. It's that the first question should be, what kind of society do you want to have? The West had the vision, they want to colonize the world, right? They want to colonize the world, and that determines the way they train their people. If you want to be if you go to North Korea, they want to be that kind of, everybody must have a military kind of training, right? So the question is, where do we want to go? Is that in any way determining the way we educate our people? But I say it in a very sad way, that our leaders are not really going anywhere, so we are not really being educated in any way. We're just, going in different directionless, everything is just happening. It's just a cacophony. There are many sounds, and there is really no movement. There's only motion. Education. We don't even know when University of Jos is in session, when they're not in session, and all those kinds. So it's a serious. There is nothing being done with any sense of intentionality, right? From home, to any other kind of place. It's sad. I'm so sad to be able to say that.
And that's so sad that we have to draw the curtains on today's episode. We started on a high, we're ending on a low, because we're trying to communicate something, which is very important. Right, so this has been Answers with Dr. Reggio. I've had Dr. Reggio. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Matthew, for hanging out with us. Yeah, and I'd like to invite you to hang out with us again next week, Friday, 5 p.m. So set your alarm. In the meantime, send us a WhatsApp with your questions on 081 44 56 9000. Till then, have a nice evening.